Episode 28 of The Rundown, Kyle Stackpole, Redskins.com, here with Zach Selby, staff writer. And we got Stevie on the podcast today, producer. Zach, how's it going?
Man, it was the draft was fun, but let me tell you something. I was exhausted after it was over. That Sunday after, I probably slept all day. But it's been a fun time. It was fun. Been doing a lot of work. Other than that, no new Legos to show this week. But I got one that I did last week, but it's not new per se. Here it is. It's a Star Wars thing. It's the slave one
from bigger and bigger.
I know, right? This is like 1,005 pieces. I mean,
jeez.
Yeah. So no Legos to buy my time this week, but next week probably gonna have something for you.
Yeah, I actually saw someone on Twitter. I think they were building the Redskins helmet Lego.
Yeah, it's
spreading, man. That's right. It's spreading. It's been a busy week. Obviously, last week we did the 7-round mock draft, and basically aside from Chase Young, I don't know if we got any picks right.
We did not.
But that's the nature of the draft. But we did add 8 draft picks and 4 undrafted free agents. So real quick, I'm just going to go through who we added, and then we can kind of talk about overall takeaways. So Chase Young, obviously defensive end out of Ohio State, the big one. Mm-hmm. You had Antonio Gibson, running back from Memphis. Sadiq Charles, tackle from LSU. Antonio Gandy-Golden, the receiver out of Liberty. And actually, we will be talking to Antonio later in the show. So AGG. That was a cool interview, so definitely stay on for that. And then we had – who else? We had Keith Ismail. Hopefully I'm saying that okay.
I think it's call him Ishmael.
Ishmael? Okay, let's go with that. And then we have linebacker Kaliki Hudson out of Michigan. We have cornerback Cameron Curl out of Arkansas, and then James Smith-Williams out of NC State. So do you want to say the undrafted rookies? Because there are some notable guys there.
Yeah. Let me just bring them up here. Let's bring up the whole list of undrafted free agents here. I'll tell you the first one though, Thaddeus Moss out of LSU, the tight end that everyone seems to be so consumed with. He is a good guy though. I mean, yeah. Wait, is his dad Randy Moss? Is that who that is?
There we go.
Yeah. And then we got Isaiah Wright, wide receiver. We got Jonathan Johnson, another wide receiver, and then we have a quarterback who is Steven Montez.
All right, so we got 12 new guys, a lot to talk about. We've gone through all of them throughout the past week, so we're going to give more overarching takeaways from the week and from the draft weekend that was. So, Zach, what would you say is your biggest takeaway from what the Redskins were able to accomplish during the 2020 NFL Draft?
I'll give you 2 words that Ron Rivera has been saying a lot since he pretty much got into Washington: position flexibility. I mean, if you just go down the line at every single draft pick, they can go into a bunch of different spots. I mean, you got Sadiq Charles, guy who can play on the left side and the right side. Antonio Gibson can play wide receiver and running back. Kaliki Hudson, pretty much the definition of position flexibility in Michigan, playing the Viper as a pass rusher, a linebacker, and a safety hybrid. So I think that is something that they really wanted to attack going into this draft. They wanted to look at guys that can move around the chessboard and find different roles for them to play in, and just get them out on the field in any way they possibly can, just to use their ability. So that's really the biggest thing that I think that they wanted to highlight in this draft, and I think they definitely did it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and that was definitely one of my biggest takeaways. I think the other one is just how strong of a relationship there seems to be between head coach Ron Rivera and Kyle Smith, the team's vice president of player personnel. So they spoke to us after every night of the draft, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they just seemed to be on the same page with everything in their evaluations of players, in coming together with what players to draft. and we kind of knew they had a good relationship based on free agency and the combine. It just seemed like they got along really well together. But this kind of seemed like a new level, and now they kind of even trust each other more, knowing that they've gone through a draft together, they've gone through free agency together. So I think you have those two guys who are, I mean, they're the top personnel executives really on the Redskins, and I think for them to have such a smooth relationship is going to be huge, not just for this year and this draft, but for every draft and every free agency period going forward.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that I noticed whenever they were talking to us together is that you could just tell whenever one of them was talking, the other one also clearly believed whatever the other person was saying. And I think that's a big thing. I think that's a good sign for how this franchise, how this team is going to go forward, is when you have the head coach and the vice president of player personnel working really just like this, in sync together, with one singular mind and one singular goal to make this team better. And like I said, we talked about the position flexibility. They really want to address that. They want to hit that home, and they just want to move forward. They want to get this team to a sustainable winning culture, the other thing that Ron Rivera has been talking about a lot since he got here. And so far, I mean, it's only been about 4 months, but they're well on the way towards being what they need to be. Is it safe to call it a bromance at this point, the Ron Rivera Kyle Smith bromance?
I don't know. I feel like it's getting there. It's only been a couple months, but it seems pretty good for now.
It's a budding bromance.
I like where it's headed. I like where things are progressing. Yeah, I think the bottom line is that, I mean, Kyle Smith said it. He said that free agency sets up the draft, and then the draft is where you really build around. And that's what the Redskins were able to do these past 3 years, which is why they have so many young players playing so much. So I think that was really their focus going in, and then just getting guys that they got in their first 4 picks. I think those first 4 picks, Gibson, Young, Charles, Gandy-Golden, those are guys that can all contribute pretty much right away. And then you have other guys that are very versatile, can play some special teams. So I think they were really happy with what they were able to accomplish in the draft. And like you said, now it's about moving forward and getting ready for the 2020 season. Connect with the Redskins this offseason. Follow @Redskins on Instagram and Twitter for team news updates and exclusive Redskins content.
Sign up for FanDuel now and get $5 in total bonus. Just make your first deposit to get started, and you'll get an extra $5 in site credit. Go to FanDuel.com or download the FanDuel app.
Did you know that your Washington Redskins are sponsored by Koch Industries? That's KOCH Koch. Their 67,000 U.S. employees make a lot of things that make game day better. Greener turf, they make that. Stronger paper products for tailgating, they make that. Oh, and electronic components in TVs and smart devices so you can watch a Redskins victory anywhere? Yeah, Koch makes that too. See all they make for on and off the field at KOCHmakesthat.com. And as promised, we have Redskins 4th-round pick, Antonio Gandy-Golden, out of Liberty. Antonio, what's going on, man? What has this last week been like since you became a Washington Redskin?
Oh, it's been good. It feels crazy to say a week. It doesn't seem like a week ago, but it's been good. You know, really busy. You know, of course, just with me being new to everything, but it's been a lot of fun. I'm getting excited, you know, just to hopefully be there soon. Hopefully all this Corona stuff will be over.
Yeah, for sure. And just to start off, I kind of wanted to go back to high school. I know that you entered high school at 5'9", but then by your senior year you were 6'3", almost 200 pounds. I read a story that they were triple teaming you. So how did you end up going to Liberty instead of some maybe bigger schools in the ACC or the SEC?
I honestly just don't think I was as good then. Like, you can go back and watch my high school tape and see that I might have been able to go to a bigger school and, maybe they developed me a little bit more. But I guess, it just wasn't the time then. So I went to Liberty. I love the coaches there. I love the atmosphere. I love the people. And as far as my college career, I felt like that was a perfect place for me. And that definitely rang true the whole time. So I'm glad I ended up there.
So, Antonio, what's going on, by the way? So you've been known for your ability to catch 50-50 balls. And whenever the ball's in the air, you just have an ability to just come down and grab it. I mean, Can you explain like what you had to do to become so skilled at that?
This is a funny story. Not to throw anybody under the bus, but in high school, my quarterbacks just weren't the most accurate. You know, you can go back and watch my high school tape and see that I had to come back for a lot of balls when I'm beating opponents, you know, just make those 50-50 catches. You know, that's kind of something I just pride myself on. You know, when the ball's in the air, I feel like it's mine. So I always try to go up and get it, you know, as best I can. And it usually works out for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did
So
you ever text your quarterbacks and be like, "Hey, thanks for not being so accurate. You helped me with the 50-50 balls"?
I think they might know. Not like I said, not to throw anybody under the bus, but you know, it's on the film, so you can't really deny it.
True.
sure. So I think it was around your junior year that Turner Gill, head coach at Liberty, stepped down, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about like what that was like, and what kind of schools were interested in you? Like, did you have a lot of interest in schools at that point, or schools were interested in you?
Um, as far as him leaving, that was really hard for me. You know, he was there from the beginning. He was big in the recruiting process with me. He brought me in basically. He was just like a father figure to me since day one, since I got there. So you know, just knowing that his wife was going through what she was going through, and that he, you know, felt obligated that he had to step down to take care of his family, I definitely understood it. But at the time, you know, it's kind of hard. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I mean, luckily, Coach Fritz and his staff came in. But as far as other schools being interested, I had heard some rumors, you know, around, and some people, you know, not other schools, of course, but people that might have been connected to those schools kind of reached out to me and said, "Hey, this, that, and the other." But that wasn't really, you know, a really big thinking point for me. I wanted to stay at Liberty, so I was hoping they definitely brought in a good coaching staff, and they did, and it worked out the best for me.
Well, that's where I really wanted to go into next was Coach Hugh Freed. I mean, he's known for being a really big offensive mastermind in a lot of ways, and you've said that that's really kind of helped you once he got there to really elevate your game. So what was he able to do to really accomplish that?
He's really big into, you know, just pointing out the small things and making those things right. And once you fix those, you know, it's kind of like a snowball effect. So he just worked on me with those since day one. He brought in a great receivers coach, Coach Maurice Harris, and he did the same thing. So between them two, they pointed out so many things, you know, that I could fix. You know, they really worked with me on them. That over the course of the season, I just kept getting better and better. And honestly, it was just a tremendous jump from the year before, as far as, you know, how the things I knew and how comfortable I felt on the field.
What were some of those small things that they pointed out that maybe you didn't realize that really helped you make that jump?
Right. Just okay. So I had more drops 2018, you know, than I wanted to, and that was just lack of focus. So just them coming in and making sure, you know, I'm on the jugs machine and I'm catching the ball and I'm looking it in as I'm catching, you know, I'm tucking the ball, things like that. As far as routes, you know, just understanding the defense, you know, so I can be able to run my routes and so I can, you know, be able to go to the sidelines and maybe tell them what I'm seeing, you know, on the field, and hopefully we can get that change on the sideline. Just releases and things like that. I got a lot better on my releases this year, and I was able to get, you know, a lot more free just because Coach Harris came in and taught me different technique at the line. So there's a bunch of other things too, but those are definitely the most significant ones.
And I guess so. Let me look at your 40s at the combine. It was a 4.6, and that's something that a lot of people have been critical to you about since high school. I mean, what's your response to that? Because I mean, you got where you wanted to be. Ultimately, you're in the NFL. So, what do you say to those people who kind of doubted your speed a little bit?
I definitely feel like, you know, I could have ran faster than that day. A lot of it was nerves, you know, on my end, and just, you know, not really using my technique that my trainer had taught me. But honestly, I played faster than that, and I feel like, you know, it's easy to see that once you turn on the film. So I don't really think that's a big point for me. Honestly, I can always work on that, but can't really, you know, change my natural ability too much.
Tape don't lie, man.
Right.
Tape don't lie.
And then
Right.
you talked about how your two favorite players are Julio Jones and Larry Fitzgerald. When did you start to kind of, you know, enjoy them and kind of watched them more, and how have you taken what they do and kind of implemented it with your game?
Right. So I started watching Julio, as soon as I watched him a little bit at Alabama, but I wasn't really, too into football then. Once he got to the Falcons, I really started paying attention to him more because he's a home team. A lot of people love the Falcons around here. So I'm like, dang, this dude's awesome. And I play receiver too, and I felt like, he was a big guy. I wanted to look like a big, strong guy like that too. And he was just aggressive, and he always attacked the ball, and he just punished people after he got it, and when he was blocking too. So I always thought, that was like the greatest thing ever. And then I noticed Larry Fitzgerald a little bit later, he was kind of the same thing. He was just a little bit more smooth and more technical with his stuff too. So I kind of wanted to try to take those things and implement them into my game as much as possible.
Have you had a chance to talk to either of them?
No, I wish. Hopefully here soon. Hopefully I can end up, playing one of those guys at some point in my career.
Well, let's talk about someone that, you're going to be playing with eventually next season, and that's going to be Dwayne Haskins. I mean, have you watched a lot of Dwayne? And if so, what do you think about his game?
I've definitely seen his game, not as many NFL games, but definitely college games. I definitely liked Ohio State. And I just think he's pretty accurate, honestly. And I think he definitely knows where to put the ball, and he has like a natural sense about him, when he's on the field. So I know he's young, and I'm young too. So hopefully we can get in there and connect, kind of build that tandem that everybody wants to see, and that can help us win games.
And he can launch it too. I mean, he can throw a ball 50 yards. I mean, you can see yourself getting underneath a couple of those passes, right?
Absolutely.
And then,
speaking of some of the other players you're going to be around, I mean, you got the receiving corps is full of young players, and you got Steven Sims, Kelvin Harmon, and Terry McLaurin, guy that you're going to get to know very well. What do you think about Terry?
Scary Terry, man, he's awesome. I watched him in the Senior Bowl the year before. He was tearing it up. I didn't really know too much about him before then, honestly. I knew who he was, but I hadn't watched him in depth like that. But I definitely saw him at the Senior Bowl because I knew that was something I wanted to do too. And he was one of the standouts from there. So actually, watched his highlights and things like that. And I'm like, okay, this is nice. And he ends up on the Redskins. And I go to the Senior Bowl, and I end up on the Redskins too. So I think it's pretty cool. So I feel like we'll be able to connect on a bunch of different aspects. And I know he knows what he's doing now, so hopefully he can get in there and teach me as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. And then just based on what the Redskins have a receiver and what you offer skill set wise, what do you envision your role being with the Redskins immediately?
Right. I think I can come in and play immediately. I'm not just saying that just because it's this program. I kind of plan on, working hard and being able to do that wherever I went. But I honestly think, I bring a lot of size and a lot of skills to the program. I feel like, I can use my big body in a bunch of different ways, and me being able to go up and catch the ball, I feel like, I can open up the range for Dwayne too.
Well, and obviously this is not a normal circumstance. Normally, we all would be face to face probably right now, or we doing something, but we're having to do with this coronavirus situation. So what is your routine going to look going forward? Do you have maybe any mentors that you like to lean on that you really want to go copy their routine going forward?
Not anyone that, I would necessarily know to copy their routine. I definitely have a routine myself. I like to get up early and get my day going, so I'm not being lazy all day. But usually I just get up and go run. If I have a gym around, I definitely like to hit the gym. And as much as possible, just be able to study as much football as I can throughout the day. And of course, just hang out with my family at this point. But I definitely feel like once I get closer, actually being towards the Redskins facility, just being around those guys, I could definitely make more of a routine once I actually get my schedule.
So what are the next few weeks going to look like for you?
Honestly, just having these Zoom meetings with my coaches, and hopefully we can get things set up. But honestly, not too many know too much right now. So we're just I feel like we're all just going at the same pace, trying to figure things out.
And so while I'm over here trying to solve a Sudoku puzzle, I'm throwing it across the room in frustration. You're over here solving Rubik's Cubes, bowling 300 games and juggling. I mean, yeah, everyone knows all these fun facts about you by now, but what are some things that we don't know about you? Because it seems like we know just almost a lot of things about you at this point. So what are a couple things about Antonio Gandy-Golden that we don't know yet?
I guess I would say, I mean, some people know this, but I like music, things like that.
Yeah.
So I've always liked to, just sing and dance and just anything that involves music. I've always loved it, watching musical plays and things like that. So I don't know. That's probably one part about me that people really don't know.
You're picking up the guitar too, so I heard. So how's that going?
It's going good. I actually have my friend. He actually knows it pretty well. So he gives me some tips. But other than that, I have a guitar sheet on my like a chord sheet on my room back in my apartment. So I usually just look at that and just try to learn the chords as much as I can, and just try to freestyle from there.
So what's next on Antonio's list of things to conquer? I mean, I know you said you wanted to play golf. What else is on that list, and how soon do you see yourself trying to conquer that kind of stuff?
What else is on my list to conquer? I would have to say necessarily to be an NFL receiver and actually play. Like that's definitely top of my list right now. I want to get on the field as early as possible.
Awesome.
Good goal. It's a good goal to have.
Yeah.
A perfect way to circle it all back.
Yeah.
Antonio, we really appreciate you having you on. Can't wait to meet you when we all finally get back to Redskins Park. But until then, good luck with training. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sir, appreciate you.
Now more than ever, it's important to keep your car ready for anything. And at your local Honda dealer service department, you're in safe hands. Safe hands that are expertly trained to use the only Honda genuine parts. Safe hands that will take care of every precaution to keep your car clean and sanitized. Safe hands that follow strict CDC guidelines, working with gloves and covering all commonly touched surfaces with plastic. And best of all, safe hands that will work on any make or model. Because with Honda, you and your car are in safe hands. Contact your local Honda dealer for more information.
Whether from the sidelines or in the classroom, whether your chalkboard is for X's and O's or vocab words, whether you're a pro football coach or Mrs. Johnson at George Mason High School, the Washington Redskins believe in the power of great teachers. That's why we're partnering with youth entrepreneurs to bring Washington, D.C. teachers the resources they deserve. In response to the coronavirus pandemic, Youth Entrepreneurs has launched Teach Everywhere, a place for teachers to call home while adjusting to teaching at home. The resource contains distance learning activities, resources for tools, and a series of webinars from expert educators. Visit teacheverywhere.org to learn more.
75 tons of game day trash and recyclables need to find a home. So, when the final whistle blows, our team hits the field. As an official partner of the Washington Redskins, RTS is connecting FedEx Field with smarter waste solutions to ensure a more sustainable and responsible approach to what's left behind at the end of a game. RTS, a better waste company. Find out more at rts.com.
So we just talked to Antonio Gandy-Golden, 4th round pick out of Liberty. Really an interesting guy. Zach, what stood out to you about what the Redskins are getting in Mr. Gandy-Golden?
He's a guy that wants to work. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. When we asked him what were some of the things the thing that he really wanted to accomplish next, he goes, I want to play wide receiver for the Redskins. And I mean, we talked about his 40 time, and he felt like that was something that he could have been faster at. But I mean, he really seems like he's a guy that he sees the stats behind him, but he just wants to build on them, and he wants to contribute immediately, whether that's being the number 2 threat, which I think a lot of Redskins fans would hope that he would become, or maybe just a rotational guy and just catching passes in the red zone. I think he's just a player that we all expected great things out of, and I think he just wants to get in here just as badly as the rest of the team does, and just get to work in any way that he can.
Yeah, I think he came off as a real hungry guy. I think that's kind of one of the themes of this draft, a lot of tough, hungry guys that are just ready to get out there and make an impact. Mm-hmm. So we've covered these draft picks so much throughout the past week. And so I think we should kind of do like a rapid fire. So we can kind of go through the picks and just say 1 or 2 sentences about each guy, whether it be interesting fact, whether it be what stood out to you the most. So we're just going to go do that. Start with Chase Young. What do you got on Chase Young, number 2 pick?
I think he's a guy that, besides all the great intangibles and skills that he clearly possesses, he really wants to give back to the community. I think that's something that really stood out to me the most out of anything. He wants to start foundations. He wants the entire D&D community to know that he is a real, genuine person who was in their shoes at one point, and now he's in the NFL. He wants to be that guy that's going to lead them into successful decisions throughout their young lives.
I think with him – oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Biggest thing with Chase Young, he just got drafted 2 overall, but he wants to work. I mean, he went over to John Allen's house the day after he got drafted. He picked up the phone and called defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio out of the blue and talked to him. And something really interesting was that his manager, Ian Thomas, said that he watches film like people his age go on Instagram. So that just – I mean, you know how often 21-year-olds go on Instagram. So the fact that whenever he has free time, he's watching film, combine that with all the physical tools he has, this is a guy that's ready to play in the NFL.
Lord help those NFC East offenses if they're obsessing over film like that.
Seriously. So 3rd-round pick, Antonio Gibson, running back, but really offensive weapon. What can you say about him?
Confident. Real confident guy. I think the media asked him something about arm tackles, and he goes, I'm going into this with the mindset that no one guy is going to tackle me. And that's what you want to hear out of a versatile guy like Antonio Gibson. I mean, he's going to be moving around the offense a lot. I mean, they draft him as a running back. He's going to play in the slide. He's probably going to play outside. He's going to play in split backfield with Adrian Peterson and Darius. I think he's going to be all over the field, but no matter what, he's a confident guy that whenever he gets the ball in his hands, he's going vertical. He's going to the end zone, and I love that. I love that confidence out of that man.
I got one phrase for you for Gibson, home run threat.
Yep.
So he had 77 career touches at Memphis, 14 touchdowns, 1 touchdown every 5.5 times he got the ball. That's all you got to know about what he's going to be able to do for this Redskins team. 4th-round pick, Sadiq Charles, tackle, LSU. What do you got?
High upside guy. I mean, a lot of the talent and skill set that he has pretty much says he should have been picked a lot higher than what he was, just based on talent alone. Something interesting nugget that I found out during the national championship game against Clemson, he had 0 quarterback pressures out of the entire out of all the pass situations that they had, and no other offensive lineman during that game had an elite pass blocking grade like that. I mean, that just shows you how ready he is to contribute early, and I think he can do that. I really, really do. Now it's going to depend upon what offensive line coach John Masco wants to do with him, how he's going to develop him. But I think that there's really nothing but positives about this guy's skill set once he gets on the field.
I think the one word that stands out to me, athleticism, and it has to do with what you wrote, 5 things about Sadiq Charles. He was a all-conference soccer goalkeeper. His coach called him one of the best athletes he's seen. He was unbelievable. You can read the story on Redskins.com. So you combine that size with that athleticism and that willingness to work, and that's someone who you can really develop into something special.
Can you imagine how intimidating that is as a soccer player to have like a 300-pound goalkeeper just standing in the way of you in a goal?
I wouldn't want to. I would stay outside the box, 100%. I'm not even going in there. I'm not letting him even pretend to come out. That's so impressive. So next up, and to AGG, he also was called Tank in high school. Not really sure why, but AGG, what can you say about him?
Knows how to win. Just knows how to win. We talked about it, and he's got an ability to catch those balls in the air. I think he said during his his media conference that one of the biggest things that shows who he is and what he can show as a player is his catch against Rutgers, he catches it with one-handed with his left hand, which he says he never does, and he just caught it in a game, which is incredible. And I think, you really wonder what he's going to become. It seems like they have a lot of high hopes for him. Maybe he become that number 2 option as a rookie. That would be great, and he definitely has the ability to do it, I think. You look for a guy who's not going to be as fast as Terry McLaurin with a 4.3 40 speed, but he is a guy that's going to has reliable hands. He knows how to catch the ball, and he just knows how to get opening and just be there for a quarterback when you need him to be.
Mm-hmm. I think for him, I'm going to go with underdog. He comes from Liberty, smaller school, and even though he produced a lot, I know he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. I got to be able to produce to the next level. I got to show them that what I did at Liberty wasn't just because of the competition that he was playing. So I think he's hungry. He's got that a tough mentality. He really wants to show that he can be that number 2 guy for the Redskins. So we'll speed it up here for the last 4 picks. Just maybe like 1 or 2 sentences, starting with center Keith Ishmael from San Diego State.
The guy of many trades on the inside. He can play on the center. He can play on both the interior guard spots. You have an open left guard position. He might be able to provide a starting role for that. You never know, but he's either a starter or he's a depth player. Either way, it's a good option.
So next up, Kaliki Hudson. The thing with him, just extremely versatile. Like you said, can play anywhere. Played the Viper at Michigan. Can play linebacker. Can play safety. Can rush the edge. He's going to be able to do a lot. He's going to come in and be a special teams ace for the Redskins right away. So, and then 7th round, 2 more picks. Cameron Curl, cornerback.
Yeah, another versatile guy, can play safety and cornerback, exactly what the secondary needs for depth players. It's really going to be interesting what they do with him. He could be a special teams player, but either way, if they need a spot at safety or corner, he can provide that pretty easily.
And then finishing it up with James Smith-Williams. 3 letters for you, IBM. Unbelievably smart guy, interned with IBM twice. He has a full-time offer waiting for him whenever his career ends. But for now, he's going to join Chase Young, join that defensive line, try to get after the quarterback, and he rounds out the class. So, I mean, final thoughts here before we get out of here. What do you think about these guys? How much do you see them contributing from day one as rookies?
Well, I'm going to answer that question, a similar question in the mailbag, which you can check out at redskins.com later on today. I think that given the circumstances, I think it's going to depend. I think that, you have the first 4 guys that we mentioned. I think they can be in a position to contribute right away if they need to. I think there's other guys that, they're going to try to bring them along if they can. But given the circumstance, they also have a lot of veterans at those spots too. That, like, if they're not ready by the start of the season, you have some good experienced veterans with professional experience to fall back on, which isn't really a bad option at all.
For sure. So totally agree with you. And to check out all of our draft coverage, make sure to go to redskins.com. If you like the podcast, subscribe, rate, comment, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube. And if you enjoy it, let us know. And going forward, we're going to have a bunch of stuff with the draft, a bunch of stuff with the schedule release. And then we got some cool features definitely coming up for you guys. So if you like it, follow along. We'll be here for you every week from here on out. So any final thoughts, Zach? You got anything?
Exciting times for the rundown. Exciting time for the Redskins. Tomorrow, Alex Smith documentary on ESPN. Check it out. I will have it takeaways. It's close to immediately after the end of the documentary is ready. So be on the lookout for that around 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Must watch TV. I'm telling you, the journey that he's been through has been unbelievably crazy, and it's definitely going to be a must watch. So until next time, I'm Kyle Stackpole, Zach Selby, Stevie Katz. This is The Rundown.
Even though COVID-19 poses an unprecedented challenge, you can count on Novec to deliver reliable power and to help in other ways. Novec.com offers tips to save energy while spending more time at home. Novec customers can monitor their energy use online, as well as pay bills through the website or by phone. And anyone can donate to help neighbors in need through Operation Roundup. Novec, power you can count on.
The Department of Veterans Affairs has the honor of providing care to those who have served this country in uniform. Today, the VA is on the front lines of the battle against the coronavirus, and we need your help. We are looking for medical professionals at every level. I hope that you will consider joining our team, either temporarily or permanently. To learn more, go to va.gov/join us.
Work is work, but there's nothing like a good workout. Tennis, mountain biking, a good run, sweating off the week. That's what weekends are for. Of course, a misstep could put you out of commission. That's why Innova Sports Medicine is here for you. We treat your injuries and recovery like you're a pro. In fact, Innova is the official sports medicine partner of the Washington Redskins. See how we keep you on top of your game at innovasports.org.